Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm never going to get that other video edited if we have to keep working on updates and stuff.
I know. And the other one's really good on that morning worship. So
Yeah. Hopefully,
we'll get it.
Eventually I'll get it edited. Okay, we've got an update on the Montana court case, a new order of jurisdictional discovery
Oh, discovery.
has
Imagine
been
that.
filed. Now, the date that this was filed was November 30th, 2020. Now, I'm going to put the link down below to this court case. Now, remember, the $35 million lawsuit in Montana went all the way to the Supreme Court. Then it was sent back, and it was denied. So they refiled it because some Montana laws have been changed since that case was originally filed. And so they refiled the case, and I'm going to put the link down below to that case, and you can get the documents. As you can see, I actually have the documents here. The United States District Court for the District of Montana, Great Falls Division. And there's just a few interesting things in this 5 pages. And I'm just going to read a lot of this, and we're just going to give our humble opinions, our humble uneducated opinions, because we're not lawyers. We're not lawyers. All we can do is read and give, commentary on it. Before the court is defendant, Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania, WTPA. Argument presented in the parties' preliminary pretrial statement that this court should restrict the scope of plaintiff's jurisdictional discovery. WTPA asserts, now this is the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania, where the real power and money is. So WTPA asserts that plaintiffs should be prevented from conducting a fishing expedition by seeking discovery related to the parent-subsidiary relationship between WTPA and defendant Watchtower Bible Tract Society of New York, WTNY. When WTPA has already presented evidence allegedly demonstrating that WTNY is not the alter ego of WTPA. Now, in our humble opinions, this is true, because the Watchtower New York is just where the religious, puppets are. The Watchtower Pennsylvania is where the real power and money is. So they're actually right about that.
Yeah. We heard this before.
Yeah, we knew this. For the following reason, the court finds WTPA's argument unpersuasive and shall allow plaintiffs to seek discovery related to the corporate relationship between WTPA and WTNY from the years 1973 to 1992. Now, those dates are significant because that's when the abuse happened. A district court's decision to permit jurisdictional discovery is a matter of discretion. And then they list some cases here. For purposes of establishing personal jurisdiction, the existence of a parent-subsidiary relationship alone is generally insufficient to warrant imputing one entity's foreign contacts to another entity. However, where plaintiffs can show that the subsidiary entity is the alter ego of the parent entity, the general rule is set aside. And that's significant because this is why they can go on a fishing expedition to show that these two are basically the same entity. An alter ego relationship is present when 1. There is such unity of interest and ownership that the separate personalities of the two entities no longer exist, and 2, that failure to disregard their separate entities would result in fraud or injustice. The relationship is typically found through evidence that the parent entity controls or directs the subsidiary's internal affairs or daily operations. I'm sure all of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses can prove that those two entities do have internal affairs and daily operations. And I believe, if I remember correctly, in the California case, they were trying to pull this same crap. And it found out that those two entities share a legal department.
That's right.
WTPA argues that they have already submitted an affidavit from their in-house counsel, Mr. Brumley, stating that WTPA is not the direct or indirect parent of WTNY. Okay, now think about that. At the end of all the videos now, what does it say? Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania.
But here again, go back to the 1984 New World Translation reference. You have both entities named in that book, in that Bible. You have both entities, so they are one in the same. Evidence, discovery.
See, and this is why the old literature and all of this is so damning to Watchtower. So while they're in court trying to get out of paying these lawsuits, we can take this information and give it to these lawyers and say, they're lying. You know, like we mentioned in that video yesterday, it's Watchtower, it's the Jehovah's Witnesses that are the wicked men of lies. This is just further evidence and proof that they are the ones twisting things. They're the wicked men of lies.
If both entities, the WTPA and the WT New York, Watchtower New York and Watchtower Pennsylvania, if both their corporate names appear on that reference Bible, then you can see that they're both one in the same. It's not that difficult.
Any further discovery on this matter is therefore unnecessary and will result in an unwarranted fishing expedition at the expense of Watchtower, Pennsylvania. WTPA also argues that to the extent plaintiffs argue a single enterprise theory applies to the case, the Ninth Circuit has rejected such a legal theory as a basis for personal jurisdiction. Plaintiffs do not appear to reject WTPA's concerns about pleading a cause of action under a single enterprise theory of liability. Instead, plaintiffs respond that they have adequately plead an alter ego liability theory, and while Mr. Brumley's information about WTPA may be accurate now, the affidavit states nothing about WTPA's relationship to WT New York during the relevant time period from 1973 to 1992.
See, and there again, the relative relationship can be seen in that 1984 reference Bible.
So see, you know, Watchtower's lawyer Brumley is trying to say that there is no connection, and it may be accurate now as separate entities, but this wasn't the case back then. And that's the thing, is this case hinges on the time period. So in editing this video, I got to thinking about the connection that we have from that time period between the corporations. And it's like, I know there's more proof. And I got a message from Atlantis, and he was digging too, because he knows there are more connections between these two corporations. So I decided to go on my own fishing expedition. I found one little tiny thing here in the 1977 Watchtower Bond volume. See, this is why they want to get rid of all this old literature, because this is so damning to them and their fight in these courts. August 1st, 1977, page 463. Now, if this becomes more of an issue in these courts, give these to the lawyers and to the courts. Just a little blurb at the bottom of the article. New Watchtower president elected. Jehovah's work on earth continues to move on grandly under the leadership of the enthroned King Jesus Christ. With the passing of our beloved brother Nathan H. Knorr on June 8, 1977, it became necessary to elect a new president for the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania, the corporation that handles the activities of Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide, and also for the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of New York. So it is the mother of all these other corporations. It is the parent corporation. The legal agency for administering the affairs of Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States. Acting on a united recommendation of all 15 members of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the directors of the two corporations. Okay, if there's no connection, then why are these, back then? See, that's the thing. That's the time period we're looking at. And this is from 1977. So this is the time period they're wanting. Not Brumley's, modern up-to-date of, them trying to separate the two entities. Okay? Acting on a united recommendation by all 15 members of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the directors of the two corporations held a joint meeting on June 22, 1977, at which Frederick W. Franz was elected president of both corporations. Let me repeat that. Frederick W. Franz was elected president of both corporations by unanimous vote. If they're two separate entities, then why was he chosen the president of both of them? You just have to ask. See? So we have solid evidence. This is not apostate lies. We have evidence that back in the 70s, there was a connection between these two corporations. So I thought this was important. So back to the regularly scheduled program. And back then, we all know they were the same. Plaintiffs have also submitted material published by WTPA, including a branch organization manual, a ministry school course, a Watchtower magazine, and a letter sent from the Jehovah's Witness United States Branch Executive Office to a branch office in Australia that suggests WTPA played a greater role in governing daily operations of Jehovah's Witnesses corporate organizations such as WTNA. And why?
I hate it when we're right. I hate it just being a simpleton and having said this stuff, years ago, and having all of this stuff now exposed in court.
No, you don't. You love it.
No, I don't.
See, during the relevant time period, taken together, this evidence and the lack of information about WTPA's corporate role from the 1970s through the 1990s in Mr. Brumley's affidavit. So basically, he screwed up.
Right.
And he's not going to admit that they were the same back then. He leaves it open the question of whether WTNY was an alter ego of WTPA in the past. Plaintiffs argue further discovery would shed light on the relationship between the two entities, and it would be improper to restrict discovery at this stage of litigation.
Oh, there's that word again. Discovery. I'm going to say something here as soon as Kim is done regarding discovery.
We might as well say it now. I'm in between paragraphs.
Okay. With what's going on right now regarding the election, the alleged election fraud, has anybody sat back and tried to comprehend why the left or Biden has not put any lawyers out there to challenge what is being alleged by the right? regarding election fraud. You haven't heard one peep where Biden has a team of lawyers trying to fight this legally. The reason being is because if Biden does do this and they do go to court, you're going to see this word discovery used quite a bit because it's being used here. See, when Watchtower is challenging all of this stuff, that's when you have discovery. And when you do have discovery, you can grab that 1984 reference Bible and see whose name appears at the top. It's not Watchtower Bible Crap Society, New York. It's Watchtower Bible Crap Society, Pennsylvania. That's where you have discovery. And that is one thing that is going to be Watchtower's undoing in anybody's court case, election fraud or anything, is
Discovery.
that discovery. Because you might just discover who has ties to the election fraud, allegedly. See, this word discovery is very, very important.
Now remember the time frame, 1973 to the 90s. Okay, so this next paragraph, listen carefully. The court is persuaded that plaintiffs have presented sufficient evidence demonstrating WTPA may have played a more significant role in directing the administrative work of WTNY and Jehovah's Witnesses generally in the 1970s through the 1990s. The Jehovah's Witness Branch Organization Manual, published in WTPA in 1977, goes so far as to state the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania is the parent corporate agency of Jehovah's Witnesses. Boom, busted. It works with subsidiary legal agencies such as the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of New York. Mr. Brumley's affidavit does nothing to contradict these documents. Instead, Mr. Brumley's affidavit describes the corporate structure of WTPA in almost exclusively present tense terms. E.g., WTPA is not the direct or indirect parent or subsidiary of any other corporation involved in this action.
We've been saying this for a long time. The real power is in Pennsylvania, and it's being exposed through discovery.
WTPA has its own assets, liabilities, offices, board of directors, and officers, separate from every other entity used by Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses, what does that tell you? Why is the Pennsylvania branch the one under investigation right now for that grand jury?
Discovery!
The affidavit says nothing of WTPA's past corporate structure or relationship with other subsidiaries such as WTNY. The court finds that questions remain regarding this past corporate relationship which require a more satisfactory, sorry, I'm chewing on a cough drop, factual showing to resolve. Discovery regarding WTPA's corporate relationship with WTNY from 1973 to 1992 is therefore appropriate. Accordingly, it is hereby ordered that plaintiffs shall be permitted to conduct discovery into WTPA and WTNY's corporate relationship from 1973 to 1992. Busted. I'm going to put the link down below to that document. Now, there's several other documents that are in this court docket, but there's an affidavit here of James Rowland, state of Montana. And he gives his affidavit here of how he was an elder. He was an elder. And I'm just going to read some of this. Page 1, number 3. Around 1974, I first started hearing rumors that Gunnar Hahn Han, a member of our congregation at the time, was sexually abusing children in the congregation. I brought the subject up with other elders, including Martin Svensson, who was presiding elder at the time, but nothing was done. See, this is proof that they are the wicked men of lies.
Well, I just find it interesting that, when you're talking to certain Jehovah's Witnesses, and even some ex-members, you'll use this as an affidavit. This is legal in a court of law. But yet when it comes to a certain election thing right now, everybody's trying to dismiss affidavits. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
And I know we don't have the video that we did about the morning worship up yet, but yet he accuses all of us, the wicked men of lies, of lying and saying that they do not handle child abuse cases correctly. This affidavit right here is proof that they did not.
Nothing. They did nothing according to the affidavit. This is a legalized testimony used in a court of law to allow a jury to pass judgment or conviction or their opinion, whether guilt is established or not, and then it allows the judge to pass judgment.
Okay, now on page 1, point number 4. In the late 1970s, I heard rumors from church members that Elder Harold Rimby, Bruce Mapley Sr., as well as Martin Svensson himself, were sexually abusing children in the congregation. Well, now you know why that first elder did nothing, because he was a pedophile.
He was part of it. Jesus.
In early 1984, our congregation was visited by a substitute overseer whose name I can't recall. One day at the Kingdom Hall in Harding, Montana, I tried to tell the visiting overseer about the problems with child molestation and sexual abuse that we had within the congregation in general, and specifically as it pertained to Martin Svensson and Gunnar Hain. Upon hearing what I said, the overseer jumped up out of his chair, walked up to me, and told me in a very angry voice not to ever mention the subject of pedophilia again. No further action was taken about my complaints. So do you see? So for Luciano, or whatever his name is, to say that our accusations about them not handling child abuse is incorrect, you're a liar.
You're the liar. These are court documents. These are signed affidavits under the threat of perjury, going to jail. You do not collect your $200 when you go past go. You go right to jail if these allegations in a signed affidavit prove to be lies. This is how serious this stuff is, and this is why Watchtower has to do what they're doing to discredit ex-members right now, because the word is getting out.
Yes, and Jehovah's Witnesses are looking at these court documents saying, oh my God. I mean, look at the Australian Royal Commission hearings, those videos. Good Lord, those are still doing their job. Jehovah's Witnesses are still watching those and waking up.
That's right.
Okay, going on with the affidavit here. A few months later, we had another visiting overseer by the name of Milnick. For some reason, that name sounds familiar.
It doesn't ring a bell to me.
During an elders meeting, I brought up to him the problem of pedophilia on the part of elders in the congregation, including Martin Svensson, and he too yelled at me and instructed me to never mention that word in connection with Martin Svensson again. No further action was taken on the part of the church. Do we see a pattern here? And I know this is not the only congregation that this happened in. This happens in all the congregations. Okay, we're on page 2, number 5. On or about 1984, the three elders of the Hardin, Montana congregations were Martin Svensson, Jerry Baker, Martin Svensson's son-in-law, and myself. At that time, Martin Svensson was a very powerful person in the congregation. Sounds like Brother Viagra tie in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, absolutely.
Yeah. It was his responsibility to report cases of child molestation to the police and to investigate and discipline members accused of child molestation and sexual abuse, but instead used his position to downplay or cover up allegations, including those against Gunnar Hain, Bruce Mapley, and others. Well, of course, if he's a pedophile himself, he is not going to report it. When I personally brought up to my fellow elder Jerry Baker the fact that his father-in-law, Martin Svensson, was doing horrible things to children and that we had to do something about it, Jerry Baker told me that because of who his father-in-law was, he couldn't and wouldn't do anything about it.
So,
we see a pattern here. I'm not going to read all of this.
No, there's a pattern here.
But the fact is that here in Montana, this involves more than one pedophile, more than one elder that was accused of pedophilia, and that even the circuit overseers did not do anything when they heard about this. So these circuit overseers need to be charged in these cases also.
Well, collusion. See, this is the noose around Watchtower's neck, is that because they stood to lose that $35 million that was awarded by a jury, Watchtower decided to go the step further and try to get those decisions reversed by a jury of their peers. They are now in the phase of discovery. And this is why I just laugh at this whole thing, because Watchtower was not smart enough to sit back and say, okay, maybe we better let the $35 million go, otherwise they're going to discover who and what Pennsylvania is. And that's what's happening.
Okay, so if they would have paid the original $35 million lawsuit in Montana to these victims, yeah, I can't remember if there was one or more, but if they would have just paid that, it would have been a done deal. They could have slapped a gag order on the court case like they do for all of them. Done. But see, now because this has been refiled and going through all of this time and money and effort, I would love to see a jury in this new trial award the victims even more money.
Even more money.
Give them $1 gazillion and bankrupt the Watchtower, NY, and WTPA.
And once again, you saw the screenshots. They're one and the same during that time period. One and the same. Hey, if anybody in the Montana area that has one of these, grab it. This is discovery. Right here. Discovery.
Yeah, and if you need any evidence, like elders' letters or any of these organization manuals, contact me, KimmyAnnBrooks@gmail.com.
This reminds me of something that you and I said a long time ago when, you know, the Harris Canyon knuckleheads decided to disfellowship us. Remember what I said? You disfellowshipped the wrong two people.
Yeah.
Should have never done that.
So I'm happy to help because I have a framed email here from Erwin Zalkin thanking us because we gave him a brand new hard copy of an organizational manual that someone had sent us. See, these are being used in these court cases against these lying, wicked men of lies.
It's called discovery. I think that's going to be the new word of the week. No, you know what we call it? Discovery Gate. You all heard it here first. Discovery Gate.
I think we should call it karma.
Yeah, Karma Gate.
Yeah. So I want to thank Atlantis very much. We got another document. It's announcement dated December 1st, 2020 for special full-time servants in the field in the United States branch territory. Now, usually, you know, some of these, they don't have a lot of information, and sometimes I don't have time to do a video about it, but I told Mike, I said, oh my God, the control they are putting over not only the rank and file, but now the special full-time servants in the field. Listen to some of this control. This is shocking. If I was one of these special, you know, full-time pioneers, I would be like, what the hell?
Well, when you listen to the language of what's being said here, make the connection And who else's language that Watchtower is parroting?
This announcement replaces the announcements dated June 30th, 2020 and October 24th, 2020. You are to be warmly commended for your loyal adherence to the protective measures that have been established for your welfare. Your faithfulness serves as a fine example to the congregation and to your families. The branch office regularly monitors the level of infection risk for COVID-19 throughout the branch territory, and we are now very concerned about its rapid increase in many communities. Therefore, we wish to provide the following minor adjustments. Please note that this direction may be further adjusted if the risk of infection changes.
Okay, now just keep in mind for just a second here. They're parroting exactly what certain media outlets are saying. The numbers are rising. We're on an increase. Now keep in mind, friend, all these numbers are going up in spite of the fact that we've already been wearing masks, we've already been social distancing, and yet all these numbers are still going up. So that should tell everybody that we have a serious problem with communication right now.
Leaving home for outdoor activities. You may continue to leave your home to enjoy outdoor activities such as drive, hike, or walk in isolated areas, and isolated areas is underlined, as long as this does not involve spending the night away from your home. Whether in your immediate neighborhood or elsewhere, use good judgment so as to reduce coming in contact with the public and exposing yourself to the virus. So now Watchtower is telling you where you can go for a drive, where you can go for a walk. It gets better.
I swear to God, this came right off of the CNN press.
Face mask. You guys are going to love this one. Face masks should be worn when in public or in any location where you may encounter others because your mate or members of your household, including when maintaining a distance of 6 feet apart.
We've already been doing this and the numbers are going up. Go figure.
There is no objection to removing your face covering when in isolated outdoor setting, but it should be with you and worn when others are in the vicinity. The most effective type of face covering is made of at least 2 layers of fabric that cover from the bridge of your nose to under the chin and is secured behind each ear. Masks that do not fit this description or that include exhalation valves should not be used. Below are examples of effective face masks as well as types that are not recommended. So they're even telling you what kind of face mask you can wear and what you can't.
It's unbelievable who's controlling Watchtower's narrative right now. It's the same entity that they are now doing a public campaign with magazines showing that God, Jehovah, is going to destroy all the governments. That's sedition, people. Think about it. They're advocating the destruction of the governments.
Practice physical distancing at all times. And I'm not going to read that paragraph because we all know what everybody's saying about that. Social gatherings. Special full-time servants may attend or host only outdoor gatherings, and that's italicized, with others in special full-time service who live on the same property, if this is permitted by the local authorities.
Do you see the cult control?
Now, I should say that people getting sick from COVID is not a laughing matter, and we are not mocking anything to do with that. What we are mocking is the incredible, detailed control Watchtower is trying to get over the members.
Who's ever's left? However many members they have right now is debatable.
Now remember what the news was saying here in the United States right before Thanksgiving. Our own governor was, no more than 6. And, all of that. We all know what the news media has been saying here in the United States about social gatherings. Okay, this is what they say. The number of those in attendance should not exceed 6, including the host, and must allow for proper physical distancing at all times.
Hot right off the CNN press.
Those who are experiencing cold or flu-like symptoms, are sick, or who may have been exposed to COVID-19 within the past 14 days should not participate. Okay, I did a supply run last week. I guess that means I could be carrying it, and I wouldn't be allowed to go to one of these social gatherings. See, that's the thing, is you don't know who is infected, because there's a lot of people that aren't showing any symptoms.
And the other thing that Watchtower is not letting this cult audience to recognize is the number of those who have survived and how high that number actually is.
Okay, back to this. Face masks must be used whenever guests come within 6 feet of each other. None at the gathering may enter the residence of another special full-time servant. Now they're saying who can come in your home.
But here again, I got a question. Watchtower's not in the door-to-door activity right now, so why even have special full-time servants?
Okay?
You can't go to the meetings.
Now here in New Mexico, the restaurants aren't open. We can go pick up, we can call it in and pick up a carry-out. When you go to pick up your carry-out meal, they have a tablet there, a form, that you have to put your name, phone number, and the date and time that you are in there, which a lot of people have been complaining about. But see, they have to have this in case there was someone, you know, like one of the workers at that time.
Contact tracing.
Yeah, contact tracing. That's what it's about. Listen to this in this letter. All must keep a dated log of the gatherings they attend and of those that were present, which will assist in the event that contact tracing is needed.
And I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah. Well, we already know that, you know, in several elders' letters back, they have to have a contract tracing log in the kingdom halls because they're using them for judicial hearings, reinstatements, and any other, you know, thing like that. So they have to have this contact tracing log.
It's interesting to know the hypocrisy, because Watchtower is so willing to follow the letter of the law put down by the governments, but yet at the same time they're advocating for their destruction. Unbelievable.
Well, the thing is, I mean, how many JWs are going to actually be following this?
Well, there again, how many of those JWs are actually PMOs and recognize what's really going on here right now?
Well, in fact, I talked to a PMO, and I have a funny story to tell.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of funny. It's sad, really, but... Okay, back to this. Unless specifically directed otherwise, attending any organized social gatherings in person of any type is not permitted.
You can't even... Hey, Jehovah's Witnesses, how do you like socialism? Because that's what this is.
The following precautions continue to be required for all special full-time servants. Shelter in place. Remain in your home or on your property to the extent possible, with the exception of what is outlined in the heading above entitled Leaving Home for Outdoor Activities. If you must leave to care for an essential need such as resupplying groceries, critical medical appointments, providing caregiving to others as approved by the branch office, or an assignment at the direction of the branch office, do so in a way that reduces your contact with the public to a significant degree.
It sounds like something our Governor Dumbass just said.
It's the same thing.
It's almost word for word.
Other than urgent or serious medical matters, those 70 years of age and older and those who have compromised medical conditions should avoid entering public buildings such as stores or offices. As needed, please seek assistance with necessary tasks so as to remain at home. Medical appointments. You guys are going to love this. At this time, postponing elective exams and procedures is recommended. So if you were a JW and it's still Pioneer, it's like you can't go have your foot and knee. You just have to suffer for a
I
while.
gotta suffer for that's right.
Yeah.
That's what you call socialism, people.
However, this remains a personal decision as you consider the risk in your community. It would be good to weigh the cost of increased risk of contracting COVID-19 with that of postponing elective medical care. See, we're not telling you what to do. This is only a recommendation. But how many Jehovah's Witnesses look at it like that? No.
This is going to be a mandate.
The society, yeah.
This is going to be a mandate coming from Jehovah's mouth, coming from the mouths of your political indoctrinators.
Vehicle registration or driver's license renewals. If your driver's license or vehicle registration needs to be renewed, we ask that you care for this online or through the mail if at all possible.
Do you see how Watchtower's talking down to you people? They just... this is sad. This is really, really sad that this organization is stooping this low.
No outside guests should be permitted in your residence. You may visit with friends and family using electronic means such as FaceTime, Skype, or Zoom.
Hey, Jehovah's Witnesses, get used to those 3 words.
Essential personal needs. It is preferred that you and your mate, if married, continue to care for your personal needs yourself. To assist you with hair care, a series of instructional videos are available on jw.org. They will tell you how to cut your hair.
On jw.org.
I guess we need to go watch that so you can give me a haircut here with my COVID hair.
I guess.
Oh my God.
It just this goes beyond reason because this is all common sense stuff that Watchtower's saying here. My God.
Now, there was an elder's letter, I don't remember how long ago. It's been within the past couple of months. We actually read that elder's letter, and in that elder's letter, it even talked about chiropractor care.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
Ay.
uh,
I think everybody's getting the whole gist of this.
yeah,
It's still Watchtower, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Just Watchtower trying to, exert authority over you that they really don't have. Oh, wait a minute, they do have because you gave it to them.
Yeah. And then they just have a personal service guideline, take your temperature before you go. Oh, good Lord. I mean, and this is what's so irritating, about some of this, is they're treating you like a 5-year-old. Oh,
Yeah.
wash your hands. At the very bottom, it says, in addition, all safety standards established by the secular authorities are to be followed. Now, a friend of mine that I was talking to, that her mom is a JW, she told me some interesting things. Her and her mom kind of got in a little argument over this, because her mom was like, don't come over and visit me. And it's like, well, if you need something, how am I going to get it to? Oh, well, take it and bring it and put it on the front porch, and then I'll wave at you through the window. Good Lord. And she's not even a special full-time pioneer. But, so my friend, she says, Mom, you're not following Jesus' example. He went out preaching to everybody, even to lepers. He cured lepers. You should be out preaching no matter what. And that was a good point. And it made me think of my own personal experience. When I first, got my lungs damaged,
Try.
It was from dry cleaning chemicals. And I have a horrendous problem with dry cleaning chemicals. It almost kills me. When I first got sick, everything in our house that had ever been dry cleaned had to be thrown out.
Yep.
And I can't, get anything dry cleaned. Back then, we were living in Wisconsin, and my mom told me, well, Kim, you need to come to the meetings and go out and service, or you know what's going to happen. You're going to die at Armageddon.
My mother said the same thing.
I said, Mom, that Kingdom Hall is full of dry cleaned clothes. All the brothers' suits have been dry cleaned. A lot of the sisters' dresses have been dry cleaned. It will kill me. You know what she told me? Well, if you come in the Kingdom Hall and die from an attack, you will have died faithful, and you will have a direct line into being resurrected in paradise. So that reminds me, Mom, I'm going to say the same thing. You should be out preaching like Jesus said to. If you're staying in your home hiding from this virus, if you were out preaching and you died faithful, serving Jehovah, you got a direct line to being resurrected in paradise. How is that any different?
They don't get it, do they?
No.
They don't get it.
How is that any different from what I was told when I first got sick? And this is what makes me angry.
See, they don't comprehend how this dialogue actually contradicts itself.
Yeah. Now, something else important that I found out in that conversation with my friend is her mom is very sickly. I mean, she's got like diabetes. She's got a lot of underlying health problems, and I can understand why she would be so careful not to get COVID. Heart problems, high blood pressure, you name it. She's got this problem. So I understand she should be staying home, so that she does not get it. But she is getting the Zoom meetings. The elders have been asking her, why aren't you turning your camera on? She won't turn her camera on for the Zoom meetings. She tells them, because a lot of times I'm too sick and I'm in my nightgown, and so I don't want to turn my camera on, but I'm there. I'm the Zoom meetings and signed in. And they said, no, you need to be dressed for the meetings and turn your camera on to get the Zoom meetings. So this is going back and forth. Well, they demanded to know what exact health problems she has, even what medications she is on. Now, here in the United States, there is a federal HIPAA law, and it's Health Information Protection Act. No one is entitled to your medical information. So for these elders to be asking what her health problems are and even what medication she is on is against the HIPAA law.
There again, they don't get it. They just don't get how these men are exerting such control in their personal lives. But that's something that Watchtower has always done.
And you know why they're not going to enforce this with this JW woman? Because she's a multi-millionaire.
That's right.
She gives a tremendous amount of donations to the Kingdom Hall and the organization. And they're probably even in her will for them to get a huge portion of her estate, which includes a multi-million-dollar home and a brand new Cadillac.
Yep.
So you can see why the elders aren't going to enforce this. Now, do you think a PMO who is, just trying to quietly fade, maybe gets a Zoom meeting once in a while, do you think they would have the same courtesy for them? No. No. And this JW millionaire, she gets a phone call every night from elders checking on her to see how she's doing, if she needs anything. If she needs anything, they'll run out and get it and bring it right over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the way the game's played.
Yeah. So how fair is that, you wicked men of lies? So anyway, I know, Kimmy gets riled.
Are you done
Yes.
getting down up your soapbox? Or?
Yeah. Now, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It just, there's just so much going on at one time. We got all of these lawsuits with Watchtower in Montana. We got all of this, these letters coming out.
Australia. The Netherlands. I mean, there's so much going on right now. And, we try to get this information out as quick as possible. And, I try to answer emails, but, it's either answer emails or do videos and edit them. So, you all understand and know what I have to deal with. So, Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. And we hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.